PK Metcalf. Is it PK Metcalf? PK Subban, former NHL player. I don't even know when I got that soundbite. I really don't. Anyway, there's nothing more sickening than listening to like certain, not all, but like, let me just jump ahead. All right, I'm listening to the Gilbert Arenas show, and then I'm listening to like other shows, and especially Today's Player. And I understand, like, you're trying to resonate with the youth. You want to be hip. You want to be cool. You want to be the guy. You want to, hey, I'm one of you guys. What was that? The Rock and what was that? The Rock on SNL. I'm one of you guys. Hey, one of you. Hey, where were you from? Gemma. All right, no, but seriously, like, you're sitting here and they critique and they talk about like this particular player, like, oh, he got all these tools in his bag, and he got all these tools in his bag, and his bag is crazy, and if this don't work, he could go to that, and if that don't work, he could go to that. And it got me to thinking, because one of the conversations they had was like, is so-and-so better because like he got more in his bag, like he goes in the bag and it's like everything's in the bag. Like, what is this stupid bag? There is no bag. Some guy, listen, if you watch the game today versus, I'm not going back to the 80s. I'm just going to talk about when I was a kid. You watch the game in the 90s, in the early 2000s. Yes, today's player has 700 moves they've worked on. But you're not going to, if you watch the game, for example, right now, I got on the Miami Heat versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't see them doing anything other than, dribble, drive, which is no different than what the game has always been. The problem is everybody wanted to become Steph and Kyrie Irving, who Kyrie Irving basically took dribbling, like if Pistol Pete and Isaiah Thomas got their associates in dribbling, right? Or Tim Hardaway had his associates, and Allen Iverson and I can't think right now, but if Allen Iverson got his masters, Kyrie Irving and then Steph Curry, basically they got their doctorate and their like they got like summa cum laude, like basically it's beyond feasible, but everybody thinks that it's possible, and it's not. It's really not. If you pay attention, and the reason why, like, you're asking yourself why is somebody like Michael Conley still able to play, and if Chris Paul didn't have his issues, why like Chris Paul's able to play, was able to play, is because it's very simple. The game of basketball is ultimately it's a simple game. It's a skill game. It's an angle game. If you can beat your opponent to a spot, it's basically based on that. But if you look today, do players today have more abilities than we've ever seen before? Absolutely. But if you give me an option between today's player versus yesterday's player, I'm taking yesterday's player. Why? Because yesterday's player knew how to play, knew how to change, knew how to where if I can't beat this guy this way, well, then I can beat him that way. Where today's player, think about it. You hear it all the time. Guy has to get to his spot. Get to your spot. Like, what spot? You go back and watch certain players. Magic had no spot. Magic's spot was the court. You go back and watch Tim Hardaway's spot was the court. Allen Iverson's spot was the court. Jordan's spot was over you. Vince Carter's spot over you. Like, you did, like, it was later when you start getting these trainers. Crazy enough, guys that never played in the league, but you start getting these trainers and they were teaching you basically like scripted basketball. If you go play you go play street ball, no ref, no nothing, don't matter what you got in the bag. It's mano-a-mano. You come down, boom, boom. You got to do with a 1-2, go past him. Yang, his bag was very limited. My man had he had a fanny pack, wasn't a whole lot in there. A lot of cats are showing up to the court with duffel bags and can't do nothing with it. It's just it's irritating. He had all this stuff in his bag. So what? I found my point. I talked around and found my point. If you look at if you want any more proof that a player from either the 80s or the 90s, hell, I'll even give you the late 70s, could play in today's NBA, your proof, ladies and gentlemen, I buckle up. I need this clip. I gotta write this time down. This is post-worthy. All right? Where are we in the time? I can't even see. F it. I can't even see. I'll find it. You want your proof? Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic, they don't out-jump you. They barely out-dribble you. They just dribble drive or pass, rebound, and shoot. Simple. So Luka don't run no 4-4, nothing like that. Jokic ain't catching, like, Giannis is athletic, and who else is the big man? Embiid, all these guys, they're athletic. Jokic and Luka play as slow as hell. They do the fundamentals, and they beat you. So now, go and watch their highlights, and go and watch them play. And then go back and watch certain players of yesteryear, and we can stop in 1985 if you want, or we can go back to 1980, and you tell me if they could play in today's game. Do you think for 1 second Kareem couldn't dribble? He didn't have to. Magic was 6'9", same height as Luka, more athletic than Luka. Do you think if Luka is putting up practically 40 points a game with Tennessee, what you think Magic gonna do? Like, let's be real. What do you think Larry Bird, what do you think he was gonna do in today's game? Come on. Come on. We all trying to use numbers. Forget the numbers. Yesterday's players are playing today. Hell, I'll even give you Shea Gilgeous, who don't do nothing that much spectacular than drive to the basket and draw a damn foul. You can keep your bags. Just give me the guys that know how to play. All right? That's where we're at. All right. College football, right? This weekend, Thursday and Friday, we get finally the semifinals, the Peach Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl. In the Peach Bowl, on the Fiesta Bowl, if you can't see, the who, the you, the Miami Hurricanes are back in it. They're going to face Ole Miss, which I'm going to touch on in a second. And then Oregon takes on Indiana in a rematch from earlier in the year. Both games will be on ESPN. Here's the crazy part. What makes the better story? Forget the X's and O's. What makes the better story? I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan, so I would love to see the Hurricanes in the national championship, clearly. But I felt like last week we won our national championship because we beat we beat Ohio State in a rematch that was like 20-something years in the making. So thank you for that. But think about Ole Miss, okay? Think about Ole Miss. Their coach is on LSU. Because the team keeps winning, he can't take any players, he can't take no coaches, or the players and coaches don't want to go right now. So the better story is if Ole Miss makes it, and then you get Indiana in there, because Oregon would mess this whole thing up. I'm telling you right now, Indiana has the Heisman Trophy winner, which they have never had, and then they could possibly win a national championship, which they have never done. And then Ole Miss has not been in a championship game since the 50s or something like that. Like, the stories, that writes themselves. That's, sorry, college football, that's your Cinderella stories. Not trying to get James Madison to make it. Like, they don't stand a chance. That's his conversation for next week. But, yes, the sexier game would be Miami fill in the blank, if you want to know the truth. Because, like, if Miami's in, just the pomp and circumstance of Miami and having all these, the past would just be great enough. And the game's in Miami. But I think Indiana Ole Miss would be a fantastic story. it would be great. And nothing would be better if Ole Miss wins. And then they hold the championship up. And Lane Kiffin don't get no parts of the game. No parts of the championship. Doesn't even, can I snip? No, he can't. Because he left. Think about that. Lane Kiffin left a team on the verge of winning a championship to go to a team that didn't even make the playoffs. Like, wow. Wow. So I think that'd be cool. I think that would make for a better story, honestly, in my opinion. Will that happen? We don't know. But I'm pretty confident. What's today's date? I'm pretty confident that would be a pretty cool story. How did I lose this? Dang garnet. The Wizards. Yo, I'm so angry right now. Fucking angry. Anyway, hey, that's it. Thank you all for listening and watching. It's been fun. We'll be back next week. There will be on probably not Thursday because I got to get up early and that game comes on late. There will be some type of recap either Saturday morning of these two games, and we will recap and preview the championship. Downright Sports, the format's different because the show is now just on Spotify. Doesn't matter why, but the show's going to be formatted a little different. Some elements of the way the show used to be formatted, like the news, I really used to enjoy doing. So I may do that just in video form. We will see. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna test it out and see if I like it or see if I want to do it, and we'll go from there. But like and follow the show on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube, please. Leave comments. On TikTok, leave the comments. It's pretty cool. Download on Spotify. New episodes air on Wednesday. Somewhere in the ether, you can find the old show. That I talked about on previous shows. The issues I have with Spotify and them taking down shows because apparently music is no longer for the people. But yeah, it's I had a lot of fun. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you next week. And as always, bye. I'm gonna start doing that. Just bye. Ooh, 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 ooh. The right stuff. Woo, 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 woo. Oh, that hurt.